is Rajesh Setty, who will be speaking on the art of fierce kindness. Rajesh is an entrepreneur, author, speaker, and self professed alchemist. Rajesh, over to you.
Hello everyone. I'm so excited about the topic of this talk, the art of fierce kindness. Some of you will definitely think something is wrong with this title. There is kindness on one side, there is being fierce on another side. How will it even match? You may be wondering. There is a connection. The reason we chose this title was very simple. In general, people have a tendency to feel that being kind and being strong are mutually exclusive. Or being kind means you will come across as weak. Or being kind means you will be taken advantage of. Yes, this all might be true in some cases, but it all can be not true as well. It depends on how you uh, deploy your kindness and what else do you do before, during, and after uh, when you are deploying your kindness to work. So, first of all, let me tell you that I'm not going to cover anything related to philanthropy because you can always be kind and generous by giving money. The scope is all about professional relationships and in work situations. That's what we are covering here. So let's get back to the basics. How do you describe an act of kindness? There are many ways to describe it. For me, it starts with another term which is related. It's called, the term is power. And the power, in a philosophical sense, is the capacity to get things done. So everybody needs a certain set of capacity in the form of a set of resources, including money, and not just money, but it's time and then thinking behind it and resources. So it all has to come together. And then for me, kindness is a distribution of power from one person to another person so that the recipient will increase the capacity to get things done. It's as simple as that. Like, for example, somebody wants to write a book and then they need knowledge, expertise, best practices, and everything. Somebody else who has written 55 books can give that thing to him. It could be a generous act or it could be a kind act of kindness, but there is a transfer of power, the capacity to get things done, so that the other person's life is better than not having it. So when it comes to power, how do we acquire it? When it became media and movies have made it look like whoever has more money, they have more power. It is only partially true because money can buy several things, but not everything can be bought by money. So there are other things that come into the picture. It's your experience, it's your expertise, it's the narrative skills that you know, it is your network, it is your ability to get an insight. It's your ability to outsee things that everybody sees, but you see things that others don't. That's called outsee. All these things will come into the picture. Now, there is also another thing that we have to remember. When somebody makes a request, that there are many ways to fulfill that request, because not everybody is very thoughtful in making requests. So you have to guard yourself against it. So if somebody makes a request that is not that is fulfilling it is not in your area of expertise, then I call it the pain to profit zone. They will get the profit, but you will be in pain. But the same thing, if the request came in your area of your strength, then I call it play to profit zone, because because it's in your area of strength. So it looks like play, but for them it's profit. They don't care if it was play for you, but you should care whether it was your pain or your play. So pain to profit zone you should avoid, because it looked like something got spent from you. Like you were generous and you were kind, but in the process of deploying that kindness and generosity, you were in pain. But the same thing, if you are in play to profit zone, you should welcome those requests. So, but it's not you who is making the request. So, little bit of thoughtfulness has to come in there. In fact, I say that the art of making requests is almost forgotten because people are so busy, and they think that just by the fact that somebody is connected to someone, that gives them a sort of a right to ask something of those person they are connected. Why? Because they're just connected. The barrier to connection has come down a lot in the recent past because of all the social media and everything. The barrier to deserving something to get from someone has never been gone down. Earlier, the barrier to connection itself was very high, right? So basically, you had to. There was no social media and everything. It had to happen through a warm introduction, right? So that has changed, but the overall cost and overall effort you have to put in so that you are deserving of somebody's attention, time, energy, any of those things, you still need to do the work. So in fact, there are 4 stages. So first is the acquaintance stage where people are getting to know each other. You make a request, high stakes request there, you will come across as not thoughtful, and sometimes you make a request prematurely. Not only you'll get judged by that request, you'll also introduce a bias for future requests that you were not thoughtful. That means you're starting at -5. Once the acquaintance happens, you move into what I call the identity phase. That means you both get to know each other. You both want to know, get to know each other. At that time, your identity for the other person is something meaningful. It has to be something meaningful. The best way I will describe it is that first you are a number for them. With acquaintance, you become a name, and with the identity, you become a person. There's a face behind the name, kind of thing. Next comes alignment. Alignment means that there is some sort of synergy between what you do. Sometimes the synergy can be as you both enjoy each other's company, and then just because you both are together with each other, you sort of grow. It's like a uh, co-amplification kind of thing. You both are together because of your togetherness. You are growing. That's alignment. And lastly, the concept of timing. So if you want to ask somebody, then you should have enough karma points accumulated with them, and then you should know the timing. So this time should be right for the other person to fulfill your request in their play to profit zone. That means fulfilling the request should look like play for them, but for you, you should be profit. That means easy for them, valuable for you. That's the quadrant we have to be in. If there was a easy and value related metrics, so easy hard, high value low value. So what happens when this is where the fierce kindness comes into the picture? What happens when people make inappropriate requests? And that is where you feel spent. So, what is the first skill that we have to learn to avoid it? Is the art of saying no. Think about it. How many of you are comfortable saying no when a request is coming from someone that you know? That means he's more than an acquaintance. He or she makes a request and you know it's inappropriate. How will you handle it? So if you don't, let's say, learn the art of saying no gracefully, then you will say yes. And what happens? First of all, it's in your pain to profit zone. That means you are not enjoying fulfilling that request, but you have made a promise, you have to live up to it. And if you do a good job, then you feel spent. If you do a not so good job, then they don't get the value. It will be mediocre output at best. So you lose. It's a lose-lose situation. But the same thing, if you said no, then you opened up your canvas to say yes to something in your play to profit zone. So let's go through the 5 steps. I didn't make this 5-step process. I think it's some Harvard professor. I don't remember his name. It's been long ago, but I have religiously followed this process, and it makes wonders. So let's take an example. I'll go through the steps with an example so that it gets clearer for you. One example is somebody. I'm an Indian, and I'm just people think they should ask me something, and they'll say, Raj, will you teach me how to cook Indian food? Or they will take a certain dish and say, can you help me make it? And I have no idea I don't even know what are all the uh, things in the kitchen. So I'm like a idiot when it comes to the cooking stuff. So I have to say no. So these are the steps. First step is to repeat what they asked. You want me to teach how to cook Indian food? So this is to make sure that you are not confusing and they are not confused that they asked you for something and you are saying no to something else. So repeating it is good. And the next step is to actually use the word no next to after you repeated whatever they said. To go like this. You want me to teach how to cook Indian food? No. And then comes the third one, which is why no, right? And it could be many, many things. It could be like this. You want me to teach how to cook Indian food? No. That's because I suck at it. That's an answer. Sometimes, if that is not the answer, suppose you know how to cook Indian food, but you don't want to teach it because that's not interesting for you. That's in your pain to profit zone. You can say, you want me to teach how to cook Indian food? No, because I don't enjoy teaching it. Teaching it. So that could be it. And the fourth one is if there is an alternative, you can give that alternative. So let's say you have a friend who is really enjoys cooking and enjoys teaching recipes, enjoys cooking for somebody else. It's just an art form for them. So you can use that as a resource. You can say, "You want me to teach how to cook Indian food?" No, that's because I suck at it. But my friend Nilesh, he does cooking classes every single Sunday. It's not very expensive. You can I can get you some discounts if you want, and I'm happy to put you in touch with you with each of both of you. I think you'll have a blast. That's the fourth one, an alternative. And the fifth step is the most important step, which is what kind of a request is reasonable for you to get. So it goes like this. You want me to teach how to cook Indian food? No. That's because I suck at it. But we're in luck because my friend Nilesh is a fantastic cook. He does some cooking classes every Sunday. Sometimes they're free and sometimes they're paid, but it's not a lot of money. I can even get you a discount. However, if you ever want to know how to write a book, and I've written a bunch of books, and you should definitely reach out to me. So whatever they say, you can end it with if it is in your play to profit zone, you go ahead and do it. And if you have the time and there is energy, but if it is not, then use this sequence. Repeat what they said. Say no. Give them a reason, and if give them provide an alternative if any, and then teach them what is a better request. Once you master this, half the problem is solved because the feeling of spent comes because you are in the pain to profit zone. You are incurring pain to create profit for them. It's not required. So next, I'll give some examples of how I have handled things and still trying to be kind, and how I have not held my ground while trying to be kind. Sometimes you need to give tough feedback. So some you don't want to ruffle their feathers, and you don't want to make them look awkward. So but you have to say it. If you don't say it in the name of kindness, you just say something that should be pointed out. Like for example, they're coming up with a bad product, and you know that it's bad, but you don't want to make them feel bad. Sometimes they come up and say, Raj, I have something very, very exciting. I came up with this idea. I showed it to 10 people, and all of them just simply loved it. I want to get your opinion. They're setting you up to say yes, but it's a really sucky product. So what do you do? So I have a sequence like this. Let's say it was somebody called Bob, and Bob has a sucky idea, and he is the one who is making up things and say 10 people have said yes, and you will be an idiot if you say no to me, kind of thing. So I say like this, Bob, you know what? I have a problem with my brain to mouth latency. I think of something and I say it because it seems like I have a short circuit between my brain and my mouth. And sometimes it'll upset people. But if the other person is really, really smart, it's really okay, because in this case, I think I'll be okay because you're super smart. Is it okay if I tell you what I'm thinking? And there they'll roll the red carpet for you because they'll say, yeah, of course. And because you just acknowledge them as a really smart person. And then you can say, this idea sucks. And here is why I'll tell you why it sucks. Now, what we have done is you eliminated their defensiveness urge, because what did I say? Sometimes people get upset when I say whatever I'm thinking, but when the other person is really, really smart, everything is okay. Now, if he is defensive, then he is admitting to himself that he is not really, really smart. So you catch them there so that you can give that feedback. It looks like a trick, but it's just a narrative structure to put them at ease so that they don't defend when getting real feedback. That's one scenario. The second scenario is when people try to pick your brain as if it's available for a sale, or it's on sale or something like that. So sometimes people send me emails saying that, hey, I know you've written several books. I have a book idea. Do you think we can meet for lunch? And one option is, hey, you have to be kind. You should go and meet them. But you don't have unlimited time, right? So there's only 24 hours. The moment, if they're not serious, they just, it was an intellectual entertainment session. So they feel good that they spent some time. They had no real interest in writing a book, but they took up all my time. So it's whose fault? It's not their fault. It's your fault. So how do you avoid that? This is where a concept called welcome hurdles comes into the picture. So I have like a pitch template for a story, like a proposal template for any book that it's about 18 pages. So I usually say, "Oh, Bob." Again, the Bob comes into the picture. I say, "Bob, it's amazing that you want to write this book, and everybody should write a book. Everybody is capable of writing a book. But here is what I will do. I got this proposal template. It's one of the best I've seen. I'll send it to you. Please fill this template." And that's exactly what an agent will ask when you are selling a book. So fill this out. It takes some time, and let's go from there. And I send this 18-page template. It'll take them 4 to 6 weeks to research and write. And then if they do come back, then I know it's worth me to spend time. But most of them don't come back. That's one. That's a welcome hurdle. And sometimes they have made some progress, but it's like in 10 months they would have written like one half of a chapter. Then what I do is I have another welcome hurdle. I've written a book about how to write a book fast. So it's called Writing Zero. I don't charge them anything. I say, you know what, this will be interesting for you. So I'll send you a book. It's about how to write a book fast. Go through it. It's only like 200, 300 pages. I think you'll get most of the answers there. But in case you don't, then let's just set up a call, or just you send me those questions. And if it is really required, we'll definitely meet. We can have a phone call or a Zoom call, or we can actually meet in person. But let's start from here. Is that okay? And you can send it. And then 2 days later, you can also send another video of you. If you have something relevant to that, you can send them a video, blog post. You can keep making sure that you give your time, energy, mind share to the right people. Because the moment, time especially, the moment it's given, it's not available for anything else, right? And sometimes people are just lazy. So there are people who reach out to me on social media, and I connect with them, and they say, "So Raj, what exactly do you do?" I have a website. They can see my LinkedIn, and I just don't know what to say. So I just reply back saying that, are you asking something outside of this profile here? There's a page there. I think you probably have something specific to ask me. So go ahead and ask me. I'm happy to share it. So that way you avoid things. But because really, if they're serious, they would have looked up my profile, and it would be so easy. So I'm coming up on time here, but I thought I will tell you. So for you to scale kindness, you need to use some resources. You need to have some assets that commonly asked questions can be answered by this. Only serious people you should meet, because if you all the time you spend with riffraffs is not available for time to be spent with serious people. So you should give more to the givers. and you should give to the takers also, but it need not be a non-scalable resource like your time kind of thing. You could use some assets there, and more frameworks, templates, patterns, whatever you can catch, try to make it a resource of some kind so that it becomes easy for you to scale. And you can be strong and also be kind. They're not mutually exclusive. It's just how you make it work. That's all I got to say. Thank you so much.